Hey guys, this is Jake here at Canadian Cutting Edge, and today we're taking a look at this knife by Sanrenmu. This is their SRM branded knives, particularly designated to be sold in the Western market. 14C 28N stainless steel, just a little over $40 US for this knife. They've got a more economical version with 9CR14 MOV. Same knife, very slight differences, like a little bit of jimping on the thumb riser, but basically the same knife. This is the 1006 model. White Mountain Knives has got a number model systems K and then 3 digits. It still is the same knife. So I'll list down below the exact knives. The one with the 9CR14 MOV comes in 2 colors, I think a blue and a black, a multicolor blue and a black. And this one with the 14C28N comes in this multicolor, which is sort of a reddish and a brownish and a tannish and a black, all mixed together. And a total solid black version. And so all 4 of those knives are available. I'm not sure if White Mountain Knives has any of them in stock right now, but they might. You can also get these knives at srmknives.com. That's Sanrenmu's factory store. And you can get them on Amazon as well. I'll have links for all of those down below. You just pick which one, where you want to buy it. If you're interested in a full-size solid knife that will impress you for the price, I mean, this is an impressive knife. We've got a cutting edge that's almost 3 3/4 inches. So this is a big full-size knife, and I've got the review ready for you. It's coming to you right now. Okay, as we get into this, let me first show you the 9CR14 MOV stainless steel knives. Take a good look at this area of the knife. That's a little bit different. The rest looks very much the same, and different colors of the handle. So that's really nice. And this one comes in this color. Everyone's going to be slightly different than the other because this grinding in here, if the layers are just at a very, very tiny bit different level, the pattern's going to look different. This guy's called the Rattlesnake, and I can see why they chose that name. I really like it an awful lot. As you can see, there's milling off the edge both ways. It's sort of rounded over. Very, very comfortable in hand. My hand size is between large and extra large for Western men's hand sizes, between 10 and 11 European men's hand sizes for gloves. And it's a nice knife that's comfortable in hand. The liner lock is very easy to access, as you can see right there. A little bit of jimping there. Love that. We've got a glass breaker, which we haven't seen on many of my knives for quite a while. And as you can see, if you look really close, I'll give you a close-up. It's got a dark tip. That's a tungsten tip. I believe it's tungsten. Very, very hard, and it breaks glass easily. Because of the way the end is made here, this pocket clip is right or left. You just unscrew this top piece that's got the glass breaker on it. You have to be really careful that you don't scratch it up. Take some pliers and put some duct tape on it or something to grab them, and then you unscrew it. Big lanyard hole, which I like. We've got a solid G10 backspacer here. There's some skeletonizing inside there, and I'll show you that when I take the knife apart in a little while. It's got an extra little lock system right here that a number of the Sanrenmu folding knives have had. When the knife is open, you slide that forward, and now you can't unlock the knife to close the blade. If you move the liner lock over with your thumb, there's a tiny bit of movement in there. You can hear it. But it doesn't allow you to move the liner lock all the way over. And once you pull the lock back, now you can move the liner lock all the way over to close the knife. To me, that's a bit of a gimmick. I don't use that. But since it's so well designed, it doesn't get in my way. I've never accidentally turned it on this knife. So not a problem at all. On the cheaper version, there's some jimping on the thumb riser right here, but the thumb fits very well right in there. It's a bit of an indent space here. Really, really like how that feels. Or you can pull forward a little bit if you're pushing through some stuff hard. And my thumb sits in that little space there very, very well. We've got a saber grind, which means it's a flat grind that comes close to the spine, but not all the way to the spine. If it's a really short saber grind, then it's a Scandinavian grind. And if it's not up to the spine, but higher than a Scandi grind, they call it a saber grind. Drop point blade here. Very robust tip on this knife. So you can see that blade there, now you can see it quite thick right behind the tip. So very strong, robust blade. Lots of belly here. Very tiny bit of a recurve, not a problem. Very, very sharp from the factory. I've not yet sharpened this knife, and you'll see when I do the specs. It's awesome. There's the model number 1006. Some vendors use a different SKU number for their knives. White Mountain Knives gives these knives a K9 something number, 9 and then 2 more digits. But it is the same knife as the 1006. So I'll put links down below for White Mountain Knives. Most of these are not in stock right now at White Mountain Knives, but they've got a button. You can click notify me if you want to get them. They also sell directly from srmknives.com. They're about $48 there per piece. The budget, the 9CR14 ones are a bit cheaper. Amazon has it for about $43.52. White Mountain Knives, they are $45.95, but you can get 10% off, which makes it the best buy at $41.36. So for 14C28N, just over $41, that's a very good price for this knife. And I recommend it all day long, but if your budget's even tighter, I don't mind 9CR14. It's a good steal. It's better than 8CR13 or 8CR14 by a little bit, and I totally recommend it. The blade shape is beautiful. The sharpness choil comes out exactly where it's supposed to be. The flipper tab's got a little bit of jimping on it right there, and it works very well for the light switch method. That's pulling back, and if you push back, but mostly down, that works as well. So very easy to deploy this blade. It's a heavier blade, but once the blade starts moving, it keeps going. Let's show you the pictures of the inside right now. I decided to show you video instead of still pictures. You can see the skeletonizing in here. This is that little piece, that extra lock that you can take out. You can see it's got that little bit of a lip sticking out there. And that's all that it is for the locking mechanism here. Put that back. We've got a pivot pin that does not spin freely, which is really good. And the screw that is used to tighten up the pivot's got a silicone washer that helps it from coming loose during use. It won't back off as easy. We've got steel ball bearings in here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 ball bearings. That's kind of nice. And there's the handle scale again. So quite nice. I like how it's built very much. So that's all really, really good. The pocket clip, totally functional, deep carry. It doesn't have a big spoon or anything. It's a nice small pocket clip, but it works very, very well. Here's a stand-in pocket. Notice it climbs over, no matter where I just put it on, it climbs over right away. So no problem there. When it's in the pocket, you can just barely see the knife there, and it's not a huge pocket clip. People aren't going to know that you've got a full-size knife in your pocket. They just won't realize that. Let's go over all of the dimensions and all of that information. The weight of this knife is 184 grams, which is 6.45 ounces, so just under 6.5 ounces. The factory sharpness, 95. 200 is sharp. Smaller the number, the better. This is very, very good. The cutting edge, the length from the sharpness choil to the tip, 9.42 centimeters, which is 3.7 inches. She's a big knife. The blade length, 9.07 centimeters, 3.57 inches. So because the G10 comes forward, that's a little shorter. The blade thickness is 3.86 millimeters, which is 0.152 inches, so that's over 1/8 of an inch, a little bit thicker than that. The blade depth is biggest right about here, and that is 3.33 centimeters, 1.31 inches. The thickness of the edge behind the grind, 0.5 millimeter, 0.0195 inches, exactly the thickness behind the grind that I like. For the handle length, I didn't count the glass breaker sticking out. It's just to the end of the pocket clip here, to the end on the G10. 11.95 centimeters, 4.7 inches. The grip area, so between my thumbs, 9.6 centimeters, 3.77 inches. The handle thickness, not counting the pocket clip, is 1.8 centimeters. That's 0.706. So yeah, most knives that I like are half an inch thick. This is a bit thicker. It's not for the smallest of hands, but it feels great in my hand. The handle depth, biggest right here, 3.27 centimeters, 1.29 inches. And when the knife is closed, this dimension is 4.3 centimeters, 1.7 inches. And the total length of this knife when the blade is deployed is 21 centimeters, 8¼ inches. And again, that's not counting the glass breaker. So that's really, really nice. The price is really nice. Let's just go over the unique features and stuff. There's not very many knives anymore that come with a glass breaker. You could, if you wanted to, if you had a file, grind it down a little bit so that there's just, not there. Or you could take this out and just put a regular screwdriver, a screw in there if you've got multiple tiny screws from other knives. I don't throw away my screws. When a knife gets destroyed, I take it apart and keep the screws. So you can just put in a regular screw in there and leave the glass breaker at home if you would want to. So that's good. This extra lock for this liner lock, some people will love that. The people that don't like it, hey, it doesn't get in your way, so it's not a problem either way. But you could just remove this. When you take the knife apart, if you take it apart, you can just remove that piece altogether. You'd be left with a tiny bit of a hole there. Not that big of a deal. I'm just leaving it in. Perfect sharpener's choil. I don't get to say that very often, so that's really a good thing. The liner lock release is excellent. I already told you about unlocking the knife. Lockup is very good. It's just a little bit later than what I prefer a brand new knife to be, but not bad at all. Blade centering is almost perfect, so that's a really good thing. Deployment's easy and it's solid. The lockup, no blade play side to side, up and down. Very, very good. Flipper or thumb stud for deployment of the blade. So that works very well. I will tell you one thing. If you don't like flippers, you can just grind that steel off the end or file it off with a file. I did that on one of my knives that's got both thumb studs and flipper tab, again from Sanrenmu, and I just took that steel off with a file. It took a little bit of work, but now there's no flipper tab, but there is the thumb stud. So that's kind of cool, but I like leaving it on there. It behaves like a bit of a guard, and that makes the knife very, very safe and easy to, not easier to use, but safer to use. Like I said, very strong tip. Oh, I forgot to mention the balance point on it is exactly where you want the balance point to be on a knife, on a folding knife. So that's perfect. The only thing that some of you might not like, in my opinion, I think, is that, maybe you think it's a little bit heavy. At 6.5 ounces, well, under, it's not too heavy at all. For a full-size big knife like this, I've got no problem with that weight. I've carried this knife a fair bit, and I've cut with it a fair bit. The blade behaves very well, cuts great. It might not be the best to do a lot of delicate work because it is a little bit thicker behind the grind at the tip than it is back over here, but that makes it really strong and very usable. I love this knife. I'm going to be very sad to see it go if the Patreon winner at the beginning of October chooses this as their September prize. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're a Patreon supporter of my channel, for $2 or more per month, I put your name in a draw, and you get to choose one of the knives that I reviewed in the previous month as your prize. And, this knife will be on that list, I believe, and because it's nice. And my very next video will be to my very next video will be to show who's won the prize for August, now that it's September. And so every single month somebody wins. And the odds are very good because I've got like 32 Patreon supporters. And if I do it every month, the odds are very good that you could win. And then you get your choice. this knife here, Sanrenmu, like I said, 3 different places to get it. White Mountain Knives, I think they're out of stock right now. SRMknives.com, I've never purchased from them directly. I don't know about their shipping or their stuff like that, but they've got it there, and Amazon.com has this knife as well. Thanks so much for watching my video. Thanks for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. And remember, guys, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb.